Okay, a little introduction from myself. Before we start, if you have any questions, please use the question Q&A bar at the top. And if you type in any questions, I will try and answer them, or James, who's joining me shortly, will be able to answer them while I'm talking. If not, if you're a bit old like me and not a great person with IT, we will have a period of questions and answers at certain stages. So if you do want to put your hand up and ask me a question, we can do so. But most of it, if you put in the Q&A, can be answered as we're going along. And hopefully the presentation is about an hour and a half. We'll be able to give you enough information to understand what you're coming into. And if there's any other questions at the end of it, we can deal with it. So let me introduce myself. My name's Steve McGowan. I'm the trustee founder of London Search and Rescue. I set up the team back in 2017 from scratch. I'll talk a bit about that later on. I am the incident response lead for London Search and Rescue, so I deal with all major incidences on the ground with a team with me of various search managers. I've been with Lowland Rescue now for 16 years. You probably think, who the hell is Lowland Rescue? I'm going to talk about them in a minute. They're our governing body, a bit like Mountain Rescue, but I'll go into more depth about that very shortly. I'm a former training officer for Kent Search and Rescue, the team based in Kent, obviously, working for the Kent Police. I'm a national assessor for Lowland Rescue, so I travel the country assessing other teams. Search manager, qualified, incident response lead as well. Operational in all roles, Lowland Rescue, apart from a dog handler, which is what I joined to do, but I got distracted, ended up doing anything else. 32 years in the military as a reservist in some capacity, and 22 years in Kent Police as a special constable, where I did search in that as well. So that's my little bit of background about me, to give you an idea who you're talking to, and hopefully I have the knowledge to be able to deliver this presentation and show you where we're going and where we started and what our future holds. So, the agenda. We're going to talk about Lowland Rescue. Who are Lowland Rescue? They're then going to talk about the charity that you're joining, London Search and Rescue, where that fits in with the national framework. We'll talk about the recruitment side of it and the training that you're going to go ahead with, and the operational side of things as well. So hopefully by the end of it, you'll have a fair degree of understanding where we are when you're joining London Search and Rescue. So who are we? Who are Lowland Rescue? They sit within UK SAR. Mountain Rescue, if I was to say to you in a room now, if I was having a chat and a beer with you and said, who are Mountain Rescue? I think most of you would have probably either come across them or certainly heard of them quite regularly. They are out there to help our walkers and climbers who go missing up in the hills of Brecon, Snowdonia and places like that around the UK. They're all a charity in their own right, but they all belong to Mountain Rescue as a governance. So that's sort of where Lowland Rescue fits in as well. The RNLI, we all know who they are. They've been going since 1824, so they've been well and truly established. They call themselves lifeboats now as a marketing tool, but we may know them still as RNLI. Cave Rescue, they're part of UK SAR 2, formed in 1935, sort of coming to the limelight about 4 or 5 years ago in Thailand, with the rescue of the team of footballers, the young kids that were stuck in the caves. So they sort of come into the public eye a bit more. And then there's this organisation called Lowland Rescue, Association of Lowland Search and Rescue. Our branding name is Lowland Rescue, but you will know us as Association of Lowland Search and Rescue. And that's the four of us. That forms part of UK SAR. Now, let's go explain a bit more where it fits into the framework. If you can imagine the UK, and then we have a area around the UK with the ocean that we have, and that's covered by Her Majesty's Coast Guard. They used Bristow's helicopters years ago. You would have seen, if you was up on the hills of Brecon and places like that, you would have seen the Yellow Sea Kings, but run by the RAF. That's no longer. Bristow's is a private company supporting all the emergency services in the UK with their technology and their helicopters. State of the art, can fly in any weather. So they work alongside their Majesty's Coast Guard, covering our coastal waters. And then inland, it becomes responsibility of the police forces. So from the base of the mountain to the top of the mountain is covered by mountain rescue. Still have to go through the police to be deployed, but that's how it works. Then you have the Coast Guard rescue, which work off the edge of the cliffs down onto the water's edge. RNLI cover the boats and out in the water. Cave rescue is underground. And then from the base of the mountain to the coastal waters is the organisation called Lowland Rescue. That's us. That's part of us. So we look for anything from the base to the coastal waters. There's 36 teams within Lowland Rescues scattered all around the UK. It's not a household name. It's not something a lot of people know about. It's gradually becoming more apparent. We had our famous, if you want to call it famous, it's very tragic. We were very much involved with Sarah Everard at the very start of her journey. And we also got involved with the young baby find in Brighton last year. So you can imagine for us, we're very low key in the public's eye, but we're out there on the ground searching on behalf of the police forces. So there's 36 regional teams across the UK. Anything on that map you can see in green represents a Lowland Rescue team. Anything in blue represents Mountain Rescue. And you can see most of Wales is covered for obvious reasons. Down in Cornwall, Devon, they were established a long time ago. So they're still running with mountain rescue teams. And as you go north, further north and into Scotland, you will come across mountain rescue teams. We cover, our biggest team is Northern Ireland. As you can see, it's the busiest UK SAR team. Have about 500 calls a year, which is quite phenomenal, really. But every police force has one. You know, Kent, Surrey, Sussex, Essex. Their police force will all have a Lowland Rescue Search and Rescue team. Now, in 2017, I was asked by Lowland Rescue to move away from Kent and help set up a team in London. We came here with nothing, and now we're the first search and rescue team within the city environment. It's taken us, 8 years now to get to where we are, 7 to 8 years. And in that, it's been a massive challenge because you're dealing with a police force that is the biggest in the UK. Deals with a lot more than just missing people. You can imagine the people we work for. You'll hear me mention their name many times in our presentation, the police search advisors, the word PULSA. Our pulsers are extremely busy. They're very much based around counter-terrorism, major crime, murders, that sort of thing. And on their remit somewhere fits in missing persons, whereas other counties will probably don't have the amount of work that they have to go through. So it's a very extremely busy force to work for. Like I say, we're the first in the city environment. They're talking about expanding that now to Manchester, Birmingham. But for the moment, we was the guinea pig, and it's going quite well at the minute. So, Lowland Rescue teams, we're all separate charities. Lowland Rescue was formed about 29 years ago now. It moved from being a representative body to a governing body of all Lowland Rescue teams, and it works alongside its stakeholders and to produce all the national accreditation that we need to make sure that we're all following the same thing. Just bear with me a minute, because I'm having a bit of an issue with my IT here. Bear with me. Okay. The responsibilities of Lowland Rescue is to develop and shape it as a national body to work alongside UK SAR. We're represented at College of Policing, UK SAR, government. They do all our policies. They put us all in the right ways to make sure we don't break the rules, certainly with the charities commissions. So they're to represent us there. They standardise all the training. So all our training is covered. If you qualify with London Search and Rescue, that makes you qualified nationally. So if ever you decide to move away to maybe Essex or Kent, you can transfer because your qualification is the same. So they standardise all that, and it's not just as a search technician. It will go through every aspect of SAR, which includes water, dogs, team leader training, medical training. It's vast. So the standardisation is set by Lowland Rescue. You can see it's run very, very well. And they're there to try and make sure that every police force that needs a SAR team has one. And many years ago, London didn't want one. They didn't think it was necessary. But that attitude changed very much around 2017. Funny enough, the person who said he didn't think it was needed was the commissioner at the time, Hogan Howe. But then he went on to become Lowland Rescue's chairman. Trustee, one of their trustees. So he realised what it actually meant and then got London involved. So that's how we really started back in 2017. All Lowland Rescue teams provide a highly trained personnel to undertake physical searches for high-risk, vulnerable missing people. Well, this endangered to life. There's a lot of missing people, and I'm going to go through that bit a bit later on about the categories of the people that we look for, because they're totally different to our colleagues in the mountains, the coastal waters, and so on. Very much built around mental illness. All teams are fully supporting, so we all raise our own money. If you've not realised just yet, you don't get paid for doing this. It is a voluntary service, same as the others, same as Mountain Rescue, same as Coast Guard, and so on. We're on call as a team 365 days a year, and we're on 24/7. So we get a call in the middle of the night. We will go. We had one today around 11 o'clock in the city, which we went and done. We're 100% professional in what we do in all but pay. So we train to get to our standards that are better than the police. That's the bottom line of it. I always say, if the police are going to want somebody to come and do a job and you're a volunteer, and I hate the word volunteer, I don't use it very often. I like to think we're professional in what we do, because the amount of training that you get and the constant training that we give you makes you a professional in your own right. So what I'm going to just, before I go on to London Search and Rescue, this is the last bit about Lowland Rescue. Like I say, it is a governing body. It's a charity on its own. We are part of it. They don't own us. We're just part of Lowland Rescue. And we're our own charity, as in London Search and Rescue. But I'm going to come on to that in a second. But what I want to show you is how also it works as a massive tool if there's a major incident in the UK. Because if we have, like when we did Sarah Everard, I had teams from all around London come in to support me. And when you look at jobs that could be in Sussex, Wiltshire and places like that, we all support each other. It's called mutual aid. This is a video I'm just about to show you. Is a very old video and needs changing, but it was produced by O2 probably 10 years ago now, just showing you how it all comes together. A lot of the kit and equipment's changed now. It's much more professional, but it just shows you how mutual aid can work together. I was on one search in my career with Lowland Rescue where there was 200 of us searching for a particular person. So that gives you the capacity that no police force can match. So I was just going to show you this video to start off with. You may have seen it on the website, but it's good to see it again. Okay, that just sort of finishes off a little bit about Lowland Rescue. Just sort of explains a little bit. Like I say, the video is quite old now. We do need to change it. A lot of stuff's moved on now. Technology's moved on massively for us. You know, drones, for example, nowhere to be seen in there. It's quite a big part of our remit now. The kit and equipment's clothing, all that's changed now. So just gives you a little bit of how it works as mutual aid. What we're going to do now is talk a little bit about London Search and Rescue as a charity, where we fit in. The first one I've got here is another video. I like a few videos on here. Again, this probably came out around COVID time. Remembering that we're a very young team. As much as we've been going 7-8 years now, compared with most of the teams that have been around at the very beginning, 28, 29, we've come a long way and we're expanding rapidly. Some of the kit and equipment that we have now, this video is only 2020, and we've come on vast since then. And, you know, we're talking about, you know, we've got 2 instant control vehicles now worth £250,000. You know, to give you some idea of the technology that we have. It's just not really shown on this, but it was a good little video produced by Crime Watch. We didn't do anything wrong. They invited us along to do a video about what we do and how we fit in. And I think it's a good way to introduce what we do from the very beginning. We talk about search technicians, which is what majority of you are probably coming in to join us. But beyond the back end of our team now, especially in the last 2 or 3 years, we've been very lucky to have some people that know exactly where to attack the funding, and it's a massive help for us to develop. James is on this call tonight. He's the the lead behind that and what it's achieved over the last 2 years has been immense. The funding that we need to make this team work is vast. You know, we're talking about probably about 30 grand a year just to run, and that needs to be found all the time. And we don't want you spending all your time out shaking tins. We tend to then try and do the grant side of things, and we've been very lucky because, you know, since that video there, like I say, our fleet of vehicles now. We've got 2 incident control vehicles, Mercedes long wheelbase. We've completely kitted out for dealing with an incident. You'll see it later on another video. We've got a water asset vehicle just being made at the moment, and hopefully a bike one. Our mountain bikes there have now completely changed. They're electric bikes because we're in London. We've had some great sponsors come through with electric bikes, which makes our team even more useful. We have a kayak team that's searching along the riverbanks with our water team, you know, with a water asset vehicle which has trailers. The funding, you know, for James and his team that's done over the last 2 years has been so immense. It's given us the opportunity to develop this team so much faster than other teams have done probably over 15 years. So you are coming to something that's quite unique. So I just wanted to mention that because obviously these videos are quite old, but I want you to understand how it's coming on. And there's a video towards the end which you can start to see that changing. Drones as well is a big part of our remit now. So let's talk about us as a charity, London Search and Rescue. We're a charitable organisation on our own. We're here to assist. Our main person we work for is the Metropolitan Police. We also work with the City Police. That's who we got called out today by. We work for the NHS now, and work for London Resilience. But our main core business is done through the Metropolitan Police. Our mission is to save lives. That's what we want to do. It doesn't always quite work that way. The frustration bit for me in London is that, you know, the way London is has the mechanism built into its system with the Mets, we don't always get out of there quick enough. And that's the big frustration. So what we want to do is save lives, but we're also there to bring closure. So sometimes it could be, yes, it's to save lives, but it also goes the other way as well. So it brings closure to families. Our vision is to end preventable loss of life. That's what we want to do, and we will keep thriving towards that. And we do get a fair degree of it. So don't sound all doom and gloom, but it is positive as well. And our members, they strive for excellence and expect to be selflessness, dependable and trustworthy. They work hard to do what they're doing, to achieve the standard that we have. We deliver a standard of search and rescue capability for the Met and the City Police, which we can do during the day or night in all weathers. So that is quite a unique bunch of people that you're coming in to join. And it's a big family as well. Our growth is to continue working with the Met to get that over the line the way we want to work it, to bring it in line with what Lowland Rescue is. But it is a police force that don't like change, and we're working alongside them. City Police is starting to come together slowly with them. It's only a small area, City Police. Don't forget, we are talking about that mile. So you think to yourself, where does people go missing there? There's no woods. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work like that. In the city boundaries, you've got Tower Bridge, London Bridge. It's probably one of the biggest areas for committing suicide. There's 800 and odd plus people commit suicide on the Thames a year by jumping off bridges. And the biggest one for all of them is London Bridge, Tower Bridge. So that comes under their remit, and we're working alongside them at the moment to try and deliver a package to prevent people committing suicide rather than doing it. They also deal with if they have someone go missing within London that lives in the city area and they go missing and their phone pings in Epping Forest, it's them that leads the search. So then we will go with them to Epping Forest. We've got an MOU with one of the hospitals, Woolwich Hospital over in by Woolwich area. Very much in development stages yet, but we've also been given permission only last week by the police to expand that and approach the 9 trusts that are in the city area to see if we can work alongside them to do something similar. Now, we don't want to be developing too much around walking the streets. It's about where we work best, and that's in wooded areas, open spaces and woodlands. We have in development with the London Fire Brigade, because they get called out to help with searches now within the Met, to have boots on the ground. We're part of London Resilience. We do get involved. We haven't done something for a while because we're only a small team compared with some of the like St John's and Red Cross and people like that. But we got in COVID, we were very much involved with the centres around the UK with vaccinations. We supported the Afghanistan evacuation at Heathrow, so we're very much involved with that. And we're building a relationship with the RNLI on the Thames to work alongside other projects there. So you can see it's a new team, but it's growing on a rapid pace at the minute. As I said before, we're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year in all weather. Our operational assets I've mentioned more than once already, so I'll just bypass that bit there. Ladies and gents, if you've got any questions, I think James is on the questions and answers page now. We've got a few starting to appear. That's good. So that's good. If you've got any questions, please throw them in, and if James can answer them, he will do so. If not, we will talk about them in the different breaks across the presentation. Just want to talk about the teams, how we form up a team in London Search and Rescue. We have mainly foot teams. Foot teams consist of sort of 4 skills, but 5 or 6 people in the team. You have what you're going to be when you arrive and trained as a search technician. We will train you right through the syllabus. If you've got no background, it doesn't matter. We are going to teach you it anyway. We have a team leader that's got at least 2 or 3 years experience in SAR, and they go away and do a national course to get it. It's not just that, oh, you're good enough, you'll do it. It's actually a qualification in its own right. We go for the medics side of it. What we class as a medic within the team is probably FREC 3 or above. FREC 3 is a qualification, that is a civilian qualification, but we have paramedics and doctors in our team as well. So you can imagine sort of medical side of it. We'll try and train people to be up to the FREC 3 level, which we're doing at the moment. And we have a radio operator in the team and maybe 1 or 2 others, depending on the type of search that we're going to do, the person we're looking for, and the characteristics of that individual. So that's how a foot team will search. You think, Christ, that's not many, 4 or 5 people, but the techniques that we use is quite effective. It can be bigger. 2 teams can work together, but it's hard to control. So we tend to work in 5 and 6s at the most. Dog teams. We have a dog team in training. We're very weak in the dog side of it at the minute, but we still have access to other dogs teams around the UK, and particularly around our border teams, because getting a dog trained can take up to 2 years, and it's a lot of work. You know, we're talking about being a search technician, and then you want to be a dog handler, and then you've got a dog. There's a lot more to it. We've got a setup to help it work, but it takes time. To give you an idea how the dogs work, if you can imagine if someone burgled your house and left through the window, a police dog will come along and probably pick up a trail and just follow that trail until it gets broken. Either you go in a car or you cross a river or something like that. Air scenting dogs, which are very much the same as our colleagues in mountain rescue. If you can imagine someone sitting behind a tree 100 meters off a track in a park, and it's pitch black, you can't see them, your body gives off an odor, and the wind will bring that odor into a direction of the wind, and then it starts to form a cone effect. So if you can imagine a cone coming away from the body in a V shape, and then the dog will get into the top of the cone, pick up the scent, and it'll work its way from the corners of the cone all the way down to where the source is. It's fantastic how they work. So you can imagine it takes a long time to get a dog trained. However, we do have them. A dog support role is very important as well, because that's somebody that has to have all the other skills as a search technician, because if they find the person and the person needs medical support, that person needs to be very good at medical training, has to be a good navigator, very calm on the radio, has to do everything else while the dog gets rewarded. Our water teams are built mainly here in London. It's a little bit different to our colleagues around Lowland Rescue, some teams are very, very big in it because they have a lot of waterways, a lot of rivers around the country. In London, we're a bit lucky in the sense that the Thames is very much covered by the RNLI, which is probably one of the busiest RNLI stations in the UK, alongside the Metropolitan Marine Unit. However, there is a lot of waterways and canals off it, which we can come into play there. But we tend to concentrate around bank search and kayak. So what that means is our guys are trained everyone that comes in, including yourself, during the course will be shown how to become a bank search technician. So basically, you'll be kitted up to be able to search along the river with kit on and searching between the reed beds, in tandem with kayaks, so they can work alongside you on the river and communicate to see if they can see anything laying in the water itself. We are going down the flood responder route because that's part now of London Resilience requirement for us, which means we can help the fire service to rescue people from front doors, that sort of thing. But also the biggest asset for us is it becomes a chance for us to wade through water looking for any bodies that could be in the water itself. So it's a good asset to have. We have been given the opportunity to look at investing in drones, underwater drones and sonar, which other teams around the UK have. Our team in Kent and Surrey, they have it already. But we're looking at it because we have a sponsor in the waiting to do it for us. So, but again, it's a massive bit of kit, massive bit of equipment, a lot of money, and it needs people trained in it. So we are looking at that at the moment to expand our water team. Our mountain bikes, if you like to call them mountain bikes, we have 10. We have 5 normal mountain bikes and we have 5 electric bikes. Jane's done a fantastic job getting a sponsor to donate 5 bikes at £5 a piece that give us the ability to get around the country parks. They're a massive tool for me as a search manager because it gives me the ability, if I'm looking for someone particularly with dementia who could be on the move, I can cover vast distances of tracks and roadways and pathways and get ahead of them. So for me, they're a great asset and we're really looking forward to getting them operational. We've got people just completed a course now, I've got 6 just gone through, and it's a MIAS national course. So it's not just someone who jumps on a bike, I can ride a bike. It's not like that. There is a technique in searching from it. And so we send people away on a 2-day course and they come back MIAS trained. That's a great exciting part of our kit that's coming into play now. We have a drone. We're looking for a second. We have 2 or 3 pilots. We're always looking to add to that. Drones are a massive tool for us. Later on in this presentation, there's a video of a rescue that we did with the drone, which is very rare to see on camera, but we managed to clock it. So it's about 2 or 3 minutes. It'd be interesting for you to see. And then there's the search strategy, the search manager side of it, where you find myself and a few others that are there to try and put you in the right place and work alongside the police search advisors on a strategy around where to find the missing people. People with mental illnesses have habits. I'll give an example. If someone was suicidal and they left their car by a lay-by, and statistics will tell us if there's no intelligence but we've only got the car and there's a suicide note or belongings inside like watches and wallets, the things that are all red flags for us. 63% of people have found within 300 to 500 meters, mainly around 300 meters. And if it's a male particularly, we're looking for the high percentage of death by male is hanging. So it starts to narrow us down straight away to the areas that we want to search. So if we're looking at the side of a road and there's woods there, that's the first place we're going to look. So search strategy is quite important. It's a lot to understand. If you want to become a search manager or search planner or search operations, there's 3 roles there. Operations is like the sergeant major. It does all the shouting and screaming outside to make sure that people are in teams ready to prepare to move to the search areas. The search planner is getting into the mind of the missing person, and the search manager overruns it and oversees the operation itself and communicates with the police. So that's how our teams sort of function. The 6 functions that we have within London Search and Rescue, or any SAR team, to be honest, it's very much the same. I think this next video is the one with, yes, it is. It's the one with the drones. So I'm just going to show you that because it's quite interesting. What happened here, this was a live search. A gentleman had managed to decamp from a vehicle that he was being chased in. He got injured and he couldn't get away. He had to go under the big 6-foot thorn thicket bushes. Now we see a lot of them in London. You can't get through them. You might be able to get underneath them and it will cost you a lot of pain. On this occasion, the sheer adrenaline forced him to go underneath and it literally ripped his clothes off. We had to give him clothes to put on to come out, which you'll see in a minute. But this gives you an idea how the drone was in play. It's a very good video to watch. you can see from that that without the drone, we probably wouldn't have found him. We could hear him at the time, but we couldn't see him. So the drone sort of guided us into his location, so we could get him out. He had crawled underneath the thicket bush just to get away from the offenders. So it was a good bit of coverage, and I thought it's important to see how the drone comes into play. What I'm going to talk about now, as I move on towards the training side of it, is just some other stuff that we have that makes us quite unique, and the police now use it within the Met. We have a fantastic mapping system that helps us to dissect areas using statistical data to be able to pinpoint us in the right direction, where to look for somebody. We're very lucky. The people who own it is one of our trustees. Now, the Met Police have purchased this as well, and most police forces around the UK are now doing the same. It's also owned by the Her Majesty's Coast Guard. So it's a massive bit of kit. But if you was to look at something like this screen here, it gives us the accountability to say to the police, we've covered that area, because every one of those lines you see on that screen is someone walking. If it's really open there, it's because I have a sports field. I think in the bottom right-hand corner where it says Black Jacket to the left, that was a sports field. You can see it's quite open. But the rest of it was thick wood. So it gives us that ability to go back and put this onto our mapping system and give an accountability that those areas are searched with a high degree of capability. So all that happens, we give you a tracking app that puts on your phone, which gives you a mapping system in 1 in 10,000, which then be able to give you a track, and then you send it to us, and you can use the map for recreational leisure. If you was to do it privately, it costs you about 200 quid. You'll get it for free, but we have the code back at the end. So fantastic bit of kit, but it just gives to show more than anything, it's the capability that we give the police when we're doing our searches. You can see just from that. What I'm going to talk about now is the people that we look for and keeping London safe. There's an urgent need for a loader rescue team for the Met. They see that, they know that, they understand that. The problem they have is it's so busy in the Met. I think it was around 45,000 people missing a year. And I think it's probably still around that. High risk and danger to life is the one we look for, and that's about 5,000. That's a vast amount. Some days on the system you can see up to 8 or 9 missing person searches in just London in one day. High risk, that is. That's about the other 20 or 30 people that have just gone missing. Data shared from the National Crime Agency back in 2019. I think it's around about 360 now, but it's about 320,000 a year. So nationally, you can imagine the amount of people that go missing. A lot of them could be children from care homes, children from county lines. A lot of that stuff goes on, a lot of that statistical data. But the ones that we really care about, the ones that we have to look for, are those with endangered to life. And it hasn't changed much over the last few years. It's around about 5,000, 5,500 in the Met itself. The type of people we look for, I spoke about it earlier. When you talk about mountain rescue, people go walking in the hills, they go missing. They normally got a trace, or someone knows where they're going, or they've had an accident on the rocks and they've fallen slightly and they've damaged their ankle. Ours are totally different. We look for vulnerable missing persons with probably what I'll call mental illnesses. Not everybody, because you can normally find someone who's gone missing through walking. We get quite a few children going missing. We've had a couple last year that made the news. So we get that type of people as well, but a lot of our stuff, a lot of the work that we're going to deal with is based around mental illnesses as well. So dementia, Alzheimer's particularly, we don't have too much of a problem with that in London compared with our rural teams, and that, a lot of that's about the network system that London has, the buses, the trains. If they go on those sort of buses and trains, they get caught up in that, and sooner or later they come to a dead end and they get found by the bus conductor or the train driver or somebody like that, and they're taken into care. Whereas in the rural parts, a lot of the homes are in the countryside, so the people, if they get out of the country, if they get out of the country homes, they can go missing within the countryside itself. So, and then people take their mothers and fathers who suffer from this illness to country parts for a picnic, and they wander off. And this all happens all the time with us in London. Our biggest business, if you like to call it a business, it's probably the wrong word for it, is around despondency and suicide. There's two different things, but suicide is a big thing for us in London SAR. We get a lot of it. Autistic children. and adults. Today's call out was an adult of 24. So it's not just children. Again, another illness. If you look on the right hand side, you can just see from the character of the head that is quite a lot of illnesses that we deal with. Bipolar. I've come across a few of them in my time. Schizophrenia is another one. But the biggest one for me that's developing quite rapidly is PTSD. We're seeing a lot of it now. Don't forget, we've gone through several conflicts with the Gulf War, Iraqi War, even the Falkland Islands. The soldiers still suffer from it. But more so than anything now, we're starting to see the effects of COVID. Doctors, ambulance crew, undertakers, people that had to make those horrible decisions at the time are now starting to see them. And we've had 2 last year with us in from the medical profession. So we're starting to see that, which is sadness. We deal with long-term missing as well. So we may have a case where we go looking for somebody that's been missing for a while. So, we're looking then for not only a deceased person most likely, but probably just skeleton, that sort of stuff. But that helps us to put closure to the family, which is very important for them. Otherwise, it's just a never-ending story for them. So for us, that's sort of our remit is certainly around the mental illness side of things. But we cover anybody that goes missing with endangered health. For example, if little Johnny leaves his home, goes to school, doesn't come home, and it's a cold night and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, that's a high risk missing person that could become very vulnerable. So we will be called out for that as well. So it's not just mental illnesses, it's all missing. The areas that we search in London, we have an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, and standard operating procedures with both Metropolitan Police and City Police and the NHS as well. This is about to change because of recently we had some high profile jobs like Sarah's job in London where street searching needed a little bit. So that's going to be looked at as well. And the MOU has been changed slightly to help us develop a relationship with the boroughs. Open spaces, parklands, common land, woodlands, that's all comes under our remit. If you didn't know, London is 40% woodland still, and it's classed as a national park. If you don't believe me, Google it. So we have a lot of areas. We have Richmond Park, we have Hampstead Heath, we have Wimbledon Common, we have Trent Park, we have Epping Forest. They're just 3 or 4 big ones that we're talking about. And there's a load more small ones which people can go missing. It could take us a whole day to search. So there's a lot of it in London. We search on the land side of banks and rivers, excluding the Thames. We don't touch the Thames. Like I say, that's covered by the RNLI. Don't need us. They're better than us. We work along streams, ponds, lakes, all those sort of areas, searching those. And we do road search, which is something the police doesn't do. Road search is quite a useful tool within low rescue. If you can imagine an old lady walking along with dementia on a country road at night and gets blown over by an articulated lorry into a ditch and could be there for 2 or 3 days. So we have the ability to search roads alongside the roads, and we train for that as well, which the police don't do. But it's a useful asset to have. So they're the areas that we tend to search in. We have the capability to search by day or night. Just to give you an idea, this is some of the terrain that we're up against in London. So it's not all country parks and benches. I think in that picture there, you can see 2 of our colleagues in the middle there in the distance, I believe. We have 2 areas of operation. We have north and south of the river. Our intentions are to get London Search and Rescue to a capacity where we're about 300 or 400. The current number is around, it's 90 now. That figure's quite old. I must change that slide. It's around 90 operational members. With this year's recruitment program, that should bring us up to around about 130, 150 by the end of the year. And then the idea is then we expand with the police as we go along. And we want to be in a position where we could operate from 4 areas of London, 4 teams in each of the areas. 1 team in each of the 4 areas, and have an HQ centre in the centre of London itself, which would be London Search and Rescue. That's the long-term plan. But at the moment, we work north and south of the river. It's not just about search technicians, ladies and gents. If you're really not into this type of thing and you want to do other stuff like fundraising, I'm sure James would bite your hand off to have support staff. We have, I think James' last count I saw on his list was about 20 support staff in various skills that they bring from their day job, which has made us so good at what we're doing now. in that side of it, but we're still looking for more. Ambassadors are very much welcome within London Search and Rescue. You can see just from that little screen to the left, bottom left, of where we're all scattered around London. I'm actually in Kent myself. I'm in Maidstone, but it's quicker for me sometimes to get around the M25 than it is going through London. Some people say to me, I was surprised when I first started the team up how many people don't have a car in London. I was shocked, and I think it's still the case now. Public transport is probably the best form of transport to get around London, and a lot of our guys will come to call outs on the train. Obviously, car's better because you've got your kit in it. If not, grab a grab bag and come by train, that's fine. The one thing I will say to you is you will never be left alone on a search and not be able to get home, even if it's a late search. We always find a way of getting everybody home. We haven't done it yet. We're just buying 2 new vehicles which will have seats in the back for carrying people to and fro stations, so that's another way of supporting you as you come to these searches. So we never leave anybody behind, that's for sure. And I wouldn't, health and safety wise, I can't afford to do that. The way we're structured, we have a trustee board of 6 trustees. I say this every time and I have to count in my head, 7 including me, who are what we class as the members of the charity. You're all volunteers yourself, so we as trustee members have the right to vote and direct us in the right way. We have a senior leadership team, which is very much me and James and a guy called Lee Sparks. I think you saw him on the videos. We are looking to have a training lead that's just about to start with us, so that will become part of that leadership team as well. So our leadership team really is built around the people that run the team. We are the ones on the ground that raise the money. We do the training, we organise things, and we deploy and we manage them. We manage this group of people, and we do a good job of it at the moment. And above us, we have the trustees there for governance to make sure that we do it right. And then below that, in the management side of teams, is we have the specialist leads like the dog lead, the bike lead, the drone lead, and so on, that will run that little team within the team. So you can see how it works there. The call out procedure, it's very much 24 hours call out. So if you put yourself on call, you're expected to come. It's literally, you'll get an app on your phone. And if you're on duty, you flip the app to the right. If you're off duty, you flick it to the left. It's very much like that. And your questions, one of the questions will probably come up is, how much have you got to do? The more you do, the better you are. That's the obvious question for me. We need you out as much as we can. If you're going to leave yourself on call, you're expected at the moment to do all of London, where probably you'd really rather just do the southeast where you live. We haven't got a big enough team to be able to choose like that, so we need everybody to attend all calls. But you can be flexible. If you're at work and it's a 9 to 5 job and you finish at 5, you can put yourself on at 5 and go down to 9 o'clock. If you're at work and a call comes out, you still find a way of finding out because we have a system that lets you know. You can then join the search after you finish work. Or if you're on a search and you've got to go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's 2 o'clock in the evening, 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning, you need to get away, you can just go. As long as you tell us, obviously, because you're in the teams. But it's that flexible. All right? We know people have got jobs, we know people have got lives, so it's you do what you can do, what you're capable of doing. We have several systems at the moment that we work alongside. D4H is a personal, it's an American system. It's a management system which does all your personal records, training, and equipment. We're also bringing into another one in now to deal with the competency side of things, which will be, the time you come into play will be in situ. We have a Cube call-out system which goes on your phone. So if you get a call, it'll be done by text, which is quite useful to have. So it'll call you out by text. And like I say, you just book yourself on off duty and you're expected to do the whole of London if you are on duty. The only people that can authorise us are the police search advisors, the pulsers. The pulsers are both in the Met and the Metropolitan and the City, sorry. If we get called out by the National Health Service, it is through their security chain of command that they have. So, but we don't take calls from members of the public. It has to be done by the police search advisor, and we don't take calls at the moment from the boroughs themselves because if we did, we'd be snowed under with work. We wouldn't be able to manage it. So we have to have that triage system, and that comes through the Pulsar. And the Pulsar will give search advice and then say, you can have London Search and Rescue, or you can have all of us. So that's how it works. So the call out procedure is 24/7 for us. We're on call all the time. This next video I'm going to show you now, it shows us when we first started working with the NHS and how it would work. It was an exercise that we put on for them. And you can see from that, our new vehicle, one of our new vehicles is in this. It's only about 2 minutes. I'll give you a little insight of what we do. James has been asking some questions to him, and he's been answering some. We haven't got many questions. Normally, by this time, we've got a page full of questions to answer. A couple of them are, first of all, we're all search techs first. So when we join as an operational member, we are a search technician. Now, if you want to join other things, like you want to become part of the medical team, if you've got a free qualification, which is great, just saves us training you. You know, we put you in the team as a medic, but you're also a search technician first. You still have to search. If you want to be part of the dog team, we develop as a handler, or you want to get involved with drones, all these things are possible to expand your knowledge within SAR. But each one of them comes with a vast amount of skills as well. So we teach you the basics of search, and we get you practicing and becoming an expert at that. But if you want to become part of the bikes and the water and the drones, this is all additional. So all this comes with extra training as well. My job today is a little bit to put you off a little bit, because we want you to join us, but we want you to know what you're coming into at the same time. Because it's no good me sort of sugarcoating it. You need to understand the challenges that you're going to face on a regular basis, not only by looking for people and that will be deceased or alive, it's the training that's involved as well. Now, we train you as a search tech, that's the first thing. Then all those other things that you like to get involved with come with extra training as well. So your time's very much taken up. So you just need to be aware of those things. Moving on from that, there's one thing. London is quite vast. People underestimate how big London is when it comes to missing persons being lost in wooded areas. And I'm not going to talk about a particular incident, but just to give you an idea, recently, sort of the tail end of last year, we were looking for somebody where the body was found, and a second body was found as well. That'd been there even longer. So you can imagine London itself is all those woods. We are very much get involved with third-party involvement in London compared with my other teams that I've been with. You know, London's got a big crime problem as well. And, you know, we've only got to look at Sarah Everard as the example. You know, sometimes, you know, we have to be a little bit careful what we're doing out there, because everything we do, including our crime scene management, has to be a high standard so that we don't cross-contaminate anything to affect any investigation by the police. So what I'm trying to get is you are joining a team that's very professional in what we do. So just be aware, you know, you're going to see things that you might not want to see. You come into an organisation that desperately needs you and wants you to be part of. There's a lot of time and energy involved with it. There's a lot of training involved with it. There's a lot of call-outs involved with it. It's very much a very enjoyable, I wouldn't call it a hobby because I don't like the word hobby, but it's a very good profession as a volunteer if you want to do something in your volunteer life. Okay, any more questions before I go on to the fact we talk about the recruitment process? I don't think there's any more there, James. It's very quiet tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, very quiet.
You've got a lucky night by the looks of it.
Yeah, you've
covered everything. Got any questions, well. Please add it to the questions and answers, and we'll try and answer them as we go along. Okay, let's talk about now the recruitment process, where we fit in with it. The first phase is tonight, the induction. I think we're calling it something else now, James. It's called Discovery something, isn't it? It's a new name that James has come up with, much more professional than my induction. But that's what tonight's all about. It's really for me to introduce you to the SAR world. If you still think by the end of this you want to go on to the next stage, there's another process to follow. But like I say, yes, we want you on board, but you need to know what you're coming into. So the next part of that is the phase 2, which is the application process. And then it goes on to phase 3, 4, and 5, which I'll talk through individually. So the application process now is after this induction. Oh, bugger, I didn't change those slide dates. Yes, I did. Right, after the induction briefing tonight, human resources will contact you, which would be Tammy. I think a lot of you have spoken to Tammy already. Tammy, believe it or not, is in Devon, but she does a fantastic job for us on HR. She will confirm that if you want to join us, can you let us know by the 31st of March? That's what she said to me tonight for this group that we're talking to. So by the 31st of March, you've got a couple of weeks yet to make your mind up. But as soon as you put your name down, the courses will fill. We only take 16 on each course. That's the issue. And we've got 27 on here tonight. Next selection day is the next day, the process after this. So if you decide that after this, Steve hasn't put me off yet, we're going to come to the next bit. You need to let Tammy know you wish to continue. She'll invite you along to the selection day on the 19th. If you don't want to do any more, just give us a courtesy no, thank you, but it's not for me. And then once Tammy's made contact with you, she'll send you the paperwork process for you to go to the next level. That's where we are on that bit. The selection day is held at the Metropolitan Police Social Club. It's not a pub, it's not a bar. Well, it is a bar, it's got lots of bars there, but it's like a conference centre facilities. It's down in Bromley. It's easy to get to by train. If you go to Hayes Station, it's literally a short walk from Hayes Station. The next one I say is on the 19th. If you don't make that one, then the next one will be July, which takes you into the sort of 2 courses later in the year. The idea, if you join to this selection day, you will start the course 325, which I will go through very shortly. Once you've decided to join, the paperwork needs to be completed before the end of that session. We have a fitness assessment. Fitness assessment is nothing daunting. It is very much a 8-kilometre walk within 2 hours, which most people can do. I think I've only ever had one person fail it, and that's because they had leukemia and didn't tell us. And we spotted it when we took them out on the walk. So fitness is nothing you should be stressed about. We do a stretcher carry as well. The fitness assessment is our annual fitness assessment. When you join, once you're qualified, you have to do it in your kit on, so it's a little bit different. We will then have our measurements IDs done at the time and we'll take your measurements because we now issue a fair bit of clothing. Up until recently, we give you very basic stuff, and now we've expanded that with the funding that we're getting in. To give an idea, we give you a bump cap, protection glasses, we give you a high-vis jacket which is branded, we give you a mountain rescue jacket which is branded, we give you a load vest and 2 lots of t-shirts, different types of t-shirts for you to wear, so you get quite a bit of kit. So for us to get to you to join, we need to make sure by the end of the selection day that the process is going to be right for you, because not only is the training going to take a lot of time, it's the money that's involved as well. On the same day, we will go through an interview process for you to have a chat with us, and we chat with you to make sure that you're happy about coming on board. And if there's anything that brings red flags for us, we'll bring it up, and you can do the same as well. And then once you've gone through that selection day, you'll be given a letter to say, yes, we'd like you to come on to the next stage. So that's how it works. Normally, we do it on the day. It can sometimes depend on numbers going to another day. The training is very much built around 4 months of training. We've now narrowed that down to 2, and it's 10 full mandatory training days. So what we found out about a year ago, were people saying the 4 months is okay, but the problem is they start to lose the knowledge from the first weekend, which is very much navigation. They didn't really practice it until the last one, which is 4 months away. So we've changed it slightly, and the reason we've also done that is because a lot of the courses overlap. So it gives you a chance, if you do miss something, particularly because you have a wedding or you've gone sick, the course beyond, you can drop in and catch up on that content and then join your group for the next session. And I'm hoping, and I'm not sure if it's on there, just bear with me a minute, I should have your program, but it's not on there, so I'm going to have to add it. I'll show you the program very shortly, how it works. A lot of the classrooms are a mix of classroom work and outdoors. It's a continual assessment. There's no exams. We assess you as we go along. Training days are in various locations, very much built around the Warren, where you go for your selection day. At least 2 of those weekends are there. 1 navigation weekend's North London. The water side of it's West London, some in the Dockheads Fire Station, which is central London, near London Bridge. So it's sort of scattered everywhere, and where it's ideal for us to do the training is the bottom line. And then we have one big final exercise at the end, which I'm going to try and show you the program. And for some reason, it's not on these slides. I don't know what I've done. After you've done that period of training, we then put you on a probation period for 12 months. There's reasons for that, to make sure there's commitment from you, to make sure that you got the knowledge inside you, and see if that knowledge is not being lost because you're not attending training or coming on the call outs, that sort of thing. You're operational from the moment you finish your course. So once you finish that night, you'll then become operational. But there's continual training. We train regular. The idea is that we have 5 training days a year, of which we go through a lot of the core skills. We then do 2 operational exercises a year. We've got one coming up this weekend at Bethlehem Royal Hospital grounds of 200 acres. So we have 2 operational exercises. Sometimes they're with the police. And then there's other training as well. You know, if you become a team leader, there's a lot of training around that. If you want to become a part of the medical team, they train regularly to go through their training on a regular basis. So there's that. Sometimes it's evenings, sometimes it's weekends. You can see where I'm getting at now, guys. A lot of involvement with this. It's not just, oh, I'm going to come out when it suits. It's a lot of commitment. And we have to abide by a search license as well, which is quite important to understand, because without that search license, we can't let you search. For example, as it says there, an untrained or poorly experienced team member on a call out could become a liability instead of an asset. You could miss somebody if you're not skilled. We regularly, every year, do a competency check to make sure that you're current. But we are changing that slightly to put the emphasis back on you to remain current. So during the course of a year, you need to keep your skills up to date. So that means coming to training. Part of the National Load and Rescue requirement is that you do a minimum of 4 live searches or 16 hours of core skills training a year. Now, that's not hard to do. Think about that, 4 call-outs. We would expect at least 10 in London, to be realistic. But that's the minimum required of Load and Rescue. The 16 hours of core sessions could be just 2 weekends. So, you know, there's not a lot there for you to really not meet the requirement. The only thing we will say is if there's a gap of 6 months between any searching or attending training, you could find your license taken off you. So if we don't see you for 6 months, to me, you're becoming a liability because you could miss somebody. And we can't afford to miss anybody. And we maintain a standard of a standard of conduct deemed fit to remain operational all the time. So, you know, anybody that's is not a team player or is obstructive in any sort of way, you know, we have a process. We have a HR department. We'll deal with it. But we don't see that. We don't see it. So it's just there to make sure you're aware as part of the license. The competency side of it, these are the skills that we have to do every year. Like I say, you need to remain current and all those on the screen to remain current. And we're continuously training monthly, as I said already, with, you know, foot searching, the dogs are out probably twice a month. The water team will start to go out every other month. A medical team training monthly. When the bikes get up and running to its full potential, I can see that being every month as well. Drones train regularly because it's quite a unique skill, and it's never ending. So you've got to understand what you're coming into, ladies and gents. It's important for you to understand that. Now, if you just bear with me a minute, I'm going to go right to the end of this, and then I'm going to try and find the program. For some reason, it's not on one of the slides, and it's important you see the program and understand it. Okay, so what we've got to now is the family side of it. Family is important for me. It always has been from day one. Your family come first. Your work comes second. And if you can fit us in somewhere behind that, we'll be appreciated. It's not always easy to fit all this into your lifestyle. So some people struggle with it. Some find it quite easy. If you're retired, it's perfect. If you own your own business like I do, you have that flexibility to drop things and move. It's great. But it mustn't let you interfere with your family life. Family is quite important. Financially, it's going to cost you money to be in it. We'll supply you the kit. But you've got to get around to call outs. There's no travel expenses. So you're expected to pay for your own fuel, come to training, that sort of stuff as well. The welfare side of it, we're there to support you. We train you in mental first aid. We train you in suicide awareness. We teach you a lot of things in here which you would be surprised on the amount of skills that you're going to gain. And welfare is one part of that. We have a safeguard and lead, 2 of them, that are on my case 24/7. So it's well structured from behind the scenes. And if anybody does come across something that's quite traumatic, we have a system in place to be able to deal with that. So you're not left out there on your own. The idea is to stick within the license, support all the areas in London when we get a call, commit yourself to training, support the charity when you can, when you're not training as ambassadors or helping with the fundraising. It's long hours and there's no pay involved. So you've got to take that into consideration when you're thinking about it. But what I'm going to try and do now, before I come to a close, is try and find the program. I do apologise for this because I didn't realise it's not on this slide. Just bear with me a minute. No, Tammy sent it to me today.
I can share it if you need, Steve.
Yeah, can you? I've got it now, but if you've got it in front of you, just chuck it up. Thanks, James. Perfect. You just go to the top one. I think it's a bit further. Oh, there's the dates. Can you just come down a bit? I think it's another slide, isn't it? There it is. Keep going. It's above. Drag it down. There you keep going. Sorry, mate. Go over. That's it. Perfect. Stop there. Stop there. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gents, this is the program. I'll go through it with you. The way the selection day works for this course, that ones that if you decide tonight that you wish to take it further and you're invited to come along to the selection day, which is on the 19th of April. The next one after that is the 12th of July. But the 19th of April gives you the chance to become part of course 325, so 03/2025. The other courses have already started. The ones in front, you can see, I think the second course has just started. Someone's not seeing something there, James. It's Angus.
Yeah,
these
will be sent.
Is there anyone else? Is it anyone else or just me?
It might just be you, mate. So we'll do. I'll get James to send it to you or Tammy, but I'll talk through it anyway. Okay. So, ladies and gents, on the screen for those that can see, I'll talk for each one. You're looking to be on course 325. Now, as you can see, it says 11 modules there, but we're pushing number 11 into number 10, so you'll get a chance to do that without actually doing another day. So the way it works is your first weekend will be the 17th of May and 18th of May, and then it goes on from there. Then it's literally every 2 weeks you'll see another course, so it's quite intensive. It's ideal if you do the one of the first two courses because they literally can overlap. But with your course in the middle, there's a bit of a gap between course 4 starting and you could be quite a while before you finish. But you can, if something happens up on, say, if you was on the 17th of May, you couldn't attend that, you can come back and do it on the 6th of September. That gives you an idea. So let's talk through each one. We do the navigation built around the NAS, National Navigation Award Scheme Bronze. There's 3 levels of it. It's bronze, silver and gold. Bronze is very much the basics around navigation, you know, how to do a bearing, how to mark yourself on a map, to locate yourself, to use a map to be able to read yourself going around. We do have tools that we give you, GPSs and things like that goes on your phone, but you need to be able to map read still, because you don't always get a signal in the woods, so you need to be able to map read. So we teach you that from the very beginning. If you have no skill whatsoever, it doesn't matter, because by the end of the weekend, you'll be able to map read certainly the basic side of it. If you want to go a stage further later on, within the team, we run a silver course, We don't run gold because we don't need it, but silver, we certainly build it around team leaders, but anybody can do that. So navigation awards scheme bronze is a 2-day thing, so you do that. If you've got mountain leader qualifications or something similar or silver, let us know. There's no need to come along that, but you certainly would have to come along if you haven't got any of those. The second weekend, writing's a bit blurred here, so I'll talk through it. Module 3 on the second weekend, we start the morning off on safeguarding. Now, a lot of you will come to us and say, I've got safeguarding already, but unfortunately, we still have to go through it as a charity because we're dealing with all types of children, adults, vulnerable. So we don't know what everybody's sort of got on their safeguarding because some of them are different. So we tend to cover everything. So Zach does that. Zach does it for a living, so he teaches that. And then I talk about kit and equipment, the types of equipment you're going to need, the kit you're going to get issued. Some of the discounts that we get, which is quite massive in Lowland Rescue, and what the type of kit and clothing you're going to need to carry. So for someone who's not an outdoor person, by the time I finish with you, you understand what to carry. We then talk about the missing person's behaviour. It's a big part of what we do to try and get in the minds of the person missing. We do that in the ops side of things, but you also need to know where to look when you're on the ground. So there's a lot of things around suicides and dementia to help you when you're out on the ground to search them, and how we deal with vulnerable people as well. So that would be the missing person bit. And then we go through briefings and debriefings, how important they are. They're extremely important, not only having a briefing, but a debriefing particularly, because if we don't do a good debrief, we might have missed something and someone could not be found. For example, I done a job many years ago where I came back off a search and went to the search manager and said, I've done what you've asked me to do, but there's too many tracks off it. This needs a line search for it. They did it the next day and found the lady alive. So if I hadn't done that, that's where a good debrief comes into play. So it's important that you understand the briefings and debriefings. On module 4, the next day on the Sunday, we have a practitioner come in to deliver mental health awareness. It does it as his day job. He owns a surgery down in Folkestone. He's an old friend of mine. He does a fantastic job with it. He also runs courses for us around mental first aid awareness, the MFH. Is it MFH, James? I think it's called mental first aid. Yeah, he does the national courses of 2 days, which normally costs us a lot of money. We're just about to put a course in, which you'll be able to jump on in September, October, and it's free. So we only take on 16 places for that. But he goes through the mental health awareness. So everybody, if we're going to come across it, it's going to affect us. It's going to affect our mates. It's going to affect our colleagues. So we need to identify when there is an issue. So we're going to go through that. It's a really good half-day session. Crime scene management, I'll go in depth around crime scene management. You probably get as much training as a police seed would do in this first day of his career. So you understand about contamination, cordons, all that sort of stuff. And then we're going through the call-out procedure and the process of how it works on your phone. Then module 5 is built around basic first aid, load and rescue, core clinical competency, and stretcher handling. We've got 2 types of stretchers now. We've got the scoop that you saw in some of the videos, but we've also got the stretcher ones now, which are on wheels. So we do a lot of training around them. But very much that day is about basic first aid. So if you've got a FREC free, you don't need to come, but you need to prove that you have the qualification. Then on the Sunday, we do bank search. So we teach you to deal with someone that could be in the water. We do a lot of practice in the use of throw lines, recovering people from the water, that sort of stuff. And then on module 7, it's about around the radio communication side of things. So if anybody's not touched a radio in their life, by the time you finish, you'll be able to talk on one, feel confident, and know all about a radio. And the procedures that we use as well. We don't do just free speech on it. We have a coded system as well that needs to be understood. And so we go through that and how it works. And we get plenty of practice on that day. We then go through things like interview techniques. We deal with a lot of people out in the woods that are nosy, want to know what's going on when we're searching. We deal with the family. We deal with the media. We deal with outside influences. And we need to know how to deal with this. Some of them can be useful. Some of them can be a nuisance. But it's a training package that helps us to get through that. And then we start into the core skills of search around clue consciousness, identifying things in the woods that you walking your dog normally would not pick up on, but we do. Key principles of detection: what will make us spot something in the woods that's all green? What can be seen? Like, could that be a body laying on the floor? Could that be something that's relevant in the way of evidence? Could that be a clue to help us find out the person? So we go through all those trying skills that we have and the techniques that we have to do them. On module 8, which is on the Sunday, we put all that into practice doing courses. We lay up some courses in the woods, so you get plenty of practice at it. We again go into the real core bit of search skills around how we search for people. We're not just people that just jump in a line and walk through the woods like the public do. There is a skill to what we do, a very, very important skill, and we're going to teach you that skill. It involves things like cubing, purposeful wandering, how far we keep ourselves separated, types of searches that we use. We use a thing called hasty, efficient, and thorough. It means nothing to you at this minute, but it's not just people walking in a line. So please get that in your head. That's module 8. Module 9, we search it day and night, so it's important we can navigate through the woods at night and search through the woods at night. So we're going to teach you how to navigate in the woodland areas. We have a technique to do it, so it's a skill on its own. And then the final day, the final assessment is where we're assessing you for your final bits. We're doing assessments as we're going all along, all the way through it. But the final assessment is an exercise. You come out with the rest of the team and in an exercise. In the morning, they will do some skills, stands. You would do some stands with scenarios built around it, and then you will take part in a big exercise at the end. And you'll be mingled in with other team members that are qualified and operational already, and you'll be assessed while you're being part of that team. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the basics of the skills that you need to have as a search technician. And then it's a matter of keeping those skills alive. And some of them have higher levels for you to do. Radio has a higher level, medical has a higher level, navigation has a higher level. If you want to get into the water side of things as well, that has a higher level. So there's a lot to it, rather than just people. Like I say, people think to us, it's just literally walking along in the woods, but it's not. Now I've just lost my screen. Now let me just get it back. That's the dates.
Sorry, did you want that back, Steve?
No, I wanted where I was before, but I think I've only got one slide to go, and it's quite that. Just let me see if I can find it. Sorry, I've just no, I think I've lost it now. I'm at the end now anyway, so let me just see if it's on there. Okay, I'm back. The one thing you will notice in this team, there's a lot of old people, and I'm one of them. His IT skills are only average. I apologise for losing you all there, but so we come to the end now. If there's any other questions, if you've not answered it with James, this is the chance now to come forward and ask any questions if you wish, before I bring it to a close. What we want from you now is for you to make a decision if you want to continue or not. It's entirely up to you. If you do, then let Tammy know. Tammy will touch base with you anyway. But the cut-off time for this course is the 31st. There's only 16 places, so if you are interested, please get your name down first. Otherwise, you find yourself on course 425. Any questions, ladies and gents, before I call it a day?
How do we get in touch with Tammy? You keep talking with Tammy. I haven't had any contact with Tammy myself.
Tammy should have sent you the link for this event. But what she will do anyway is after tonight, she won't do it tonight. She'll be doing it tomorrow. She's already told me that. She'll send you an email to all your email addresses to see if you wish to continue.
Okay.
If you've got Tammy's link already, please do it. And give her a call, give her a message on email. If not, she will contact you by email tomorrow anyway, so expect an email.
Okay, thank you. I just got another question, and I think you've kind of covered it in many ways, but I'd just like to ask a bit more specifically. If you're on call, so you've elected to be on call, and you get a call, and let's say, for instance, it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And let's say I'm down in, let's say I live near Surbiton, southwest. Right. And the call is up in northwest of London, the other side of London.
Yeah.
Would there not be any? Would you not call people who are living locally to that, or would you call anybody? Because public transport at 3 o'clock in the morning is not going to be possible, obviously.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. So let me explain a little bit how it goes. In our long-term project, where London want to be is at the 4 areas. I think I mentioned that earlier. Because we're only 90 strong, it sounds like it's a lot of people. But when you're scattered across and everybody's working, everybody's got different shifts, for me to get anybody, if you're living in Surbiton down the corner and you get northwest London, it's probably unlikely you're going to attend. But if you are coming by car, it's probably only going to be about 30, 40, 45 minutes maybe at that time of night. If you're coming on public transport, you'll probably struggle to get a bus or something at that time of night. We don't get a full big turnout in the middle of the night. We might get 30 at 7 o'clock in the evening. We might get 10 or 12 at that time of the morning. And most of them have probably got a car. We also have on Teams, you'll get several systems. One of them is Office 365 Teams, where we have a live chat going on when the call out comes in. So people might turn around and say, well, I'm leaving from Surbiton. Does anybody want to lift on the way? That's a possibility as well. But it's not always easy. You know, for me, I come up from Maidstone in Kent, and it's easier for me, believe it or not, than it is in London, because I can just come around the M25 with a control vehicle. But it takes about an hour and 15 minutes to get to a call. It's nothing that's quick.
Okay.
So don't think you've got to be there in 5 minutes. If you can and you live close to it, that's great. You'll find yourself out on the ground pretty quickly. But we do have people come from all parts of London, and sometimes it could take up to 2 hours. Some of these jobs can go on for 6, 7, 8 hours, 2 or 3 days. Some can go on for, sometimes we get halfway there and get stood down because they found the person.
I see.
So it works like that, really.
Thank you.
I hope that answers your question for you. Is it Mike?
Yeah, it is Mike. Yeah, thank you very much. It does answer the question. Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah. Any other questions, ladies and gents?
Just one from me. I may have missed it, but you have to do the training first before thinking of doing dog handling. And if you do want to do dog handling, what skills does the dog need before doing the course, or is it all trained on the course?
First of all, you'd need to be a search technician, Angus, to understand how search works. Obviously, it's like being in the army. You need to be a soldier first before you do anything else. So that's the first thing. Have you got a dog that you're interested in training?
I have, yeah, and he's doing all of the obedience training and scent work.
What will happen then is that we've got we've only got a small dog team, and most of our dog handlers train outside London. Right. We did have a trainer in London, but Jim has unfortunately had to move, and he now works in Midshires. So our trainers now, our guys need to go to either Sussex, Surrey, Buckinghamshire, or Essex to train their dogs.
Right. Okay.
But they also do some in London as well, so they get together quite regularly. You come on board to become. I always say the way to approach it is first to learn to become a dog handler first, understand how it works, and then get your dog going. But as you've got a dog already, you'll be both starting at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it'll take you 2 years to get the dog ready. And you need to start now together. How old's the dog?
He's 17 months.
So he's right at that age now to be perfect for it, I think.
Exactly, and that's why I'm thinking of doing this, because I'm ending
where do you live?
I live in Shepherd's Bush. But work in Warwickshire 2 days a week.
Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of tying you down with. It's mainly we got 4 dog handlers. It's going along, seeing them, find a way you slot in with them, and they'll guide you the best way to go. But I would say if you're coming in now with your dog, you want to start together. I will say become a handler first, then go and buy a dog. But you got the other way around. Which happens all the time. It's not unique. It happens all the time. So I just think, because sometimes people come with their pets and they're so protective, and they're convinced this dog's going to be an excellent dog. But sometimes you do all that training in the first few months, and you get told the dog's not good enough, and then your attitude towards search sometimes deteriorates. If you understand what I'm sort of saying.
Of course.
So that's the only thing I would say. But yeah, that's the process, I think.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
The only confidence I've got right now.
Sorry, Angus? Oh, is that the only question?
No, I was just saying the only confidence And it wasn't really a question. It's just saying that the only confidence I've got is that he's got all of his kind of basic, well, not advanced certificates in scent and obedience and gun dog. So I know that he's got good sense, but no, he's a Vizsla.
Okay. Listen,
Vizsla, Hungarian Vizsla.
You're only going to know once you start training. And normally the dog handlers and the trainers can tell straight away. So they'll be able to guide you there. Not so much ours, but certainly the trainers that you go and work with will be able to tell you straight away, more or less. It sounds like he could be a good one.
Yeah, just so.
Do you want me to wrap up with this video, Steve?
Yeah, if no one else got any other questions, we'll call it a night. Anybody? Any more questions before we finish? Okay, ladies and gents, that's us done then. Thank you for your time coming tonight. It's very important for you to understand what you're coming into. Tammy will get in touch with you tomorrow. If you are interested in Canada, the next day is 19th of April.
Please leave a message after the tone.
I'll give you a call, James. Good night, everybody.